Okay, we'll start with a brand new Jupyter Notebook within the JupyterLab environment. Now, just before we start, you don't need to copy this. I just want to show for everyone that these are my two sources. There's the Python for Everybody textbook, and then there's a Python cheat sheet website, which is actually really useful once you've gone through this stuff to just go back and check what the different syntax for different commands is. And I don't expect or even recommend that you try and memorize anything that you see today. You pick it up as you go along. And again, as I say, you can just look it up as well. And of course, you can Google it. So the whole point of today is in the next, say, 45 to 50 minutes, we're going to try and cover all the basic Python functions you need to be aware of. Basic Python functionality you need to be aware of before you do pandas, so that a lot of stuff in pandas is much more obvious. Pandas being the library in Python you use for data analysis. So we'll cover things like strings, lists, dictionaries, sets, tuples, and functions. I think that's everything. So starting with the most basic thing, which is strings. So this, I've changed that to a Markdown tab, yeah? So you don't need to write the notes. You can just type in the commands if that's quicker for you. So just want to start by saying a string is just a sequence of characters. And you can access the characters using brackets. So an example is, so we're going to assign to the variable station the name Aldgate. So this is one of the London Underground stations. Now, if we want to just access the first character, we do station and the square brackets. So I suppose we should say square brackets here with 0, okay? Because Python starts at 0. Just throw in a question at any point, just do that, yeah? One of the most important things to know about a string or strings is that strings are immutable, meaning you can't directly change them. So for example, we might have wanted to just change that to a capital A. We might want to try this, but it won't work, okay? Because it says it doesn't support item assignment. Just to explain this a bit more. So this station variable refers to the string in memory, the string object in memory. And this particular object doesn't allow you to directly change it. The best we could do really is to do something like this, right? So we've added the first character on to the remainder of the station string. Do you understand what that is?
Yeah, I do. So you're basically saying, take everything LDGAT, put a capital A before it.
Yes. Now, at this point, if we were to look at what station is, it still remains like this. This is important because especially beginners keep forgetting why this happens. Do you understand, first of all, why this has happened?
Yeah, because you've saved Aldgate with a little A in station. So you might have done line 6, but you haven't actually saved it in station.
Exactly. So the way you do that is by assigning the right-hand side to the variable station like this. Okay, so now if we look at what station is, it's Aldgate with a capital A. Fine. Now we can look at each letter in this string by looping through with a very simple sort of commands. So basically you can read as for each letter in station, print out the letter.
And print just means display it, right?
Yeah. Two more things. So, okay, maybe here I'm just going to pause, right, and say, or I'll ask you first, and then I'll give you an answer. Okay. Can you see any kind of use to what we've seen so far?
When you say what we've seen, everything up until now?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I can definitely see a use to saving things. Is this called a variable?
Yeah.
Saving things
to a variable.
assigning things to a variable.
Yeah.
I can see the use of changing that variable at times. I guess that's why it's called a variable.
Yeah.
Picking bits out from a string. Yeah, that makes sense. And then the for loop, it all kind of makes sense. If you asked me to give you a clear example when you use each, I think I'd struggle, but I kind of intuitively know
Yeah,
it
great.
will be some things.
Yeah, yeah. So and that's why this part is a bit hard to motivate, because these are just the basic building blocks of programming that you do later. So I want to talk about something called the in operator. So 7.7 is where it is in the Python for Everybody textbook. So if you'd say print gate in station, all it's doing is it's checking if that substring gate is anywhere within the string alt gate.
Well, how would that read in normal English? Why does it say print?
Well, no, we don't even need. So the reason we have print, right, is
right, is to show.
Yeah. So actually, in the Jupyter Notebook environment, you don't need print.
Yeah.
If
yeah.
there's
Okay.
only, if you just got one single line. But let's say, so the reason I had print in there actually was, let's say instead of gate in station, we said gate in Angel. It's another station, right? So in this case, it says false, but it's only printing out the last command. If we wanted to show both on screen, we'd have to put a print statement in. So I just prefer to always use print, but I don't always remember to do that. So, I mean, you don't have to just remember this, if you're having a sequence of commands, then it will only automatically print out the last command.
And so the line gate in station read in English is the string gate in station.
Exactly. Is a substring gate. Yeah, there's a string gate inside. Can you find it inside the string? That's
so the in operator is checking if something's in something else.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think I might as well give you examples of when I've used this kind of thing, okay? Which is that, especially in data analysis, you may have a folder with loads of data files, okay? And a good example would be lots of camera images, photos. But then you may have other things in there as well. And especially in the past, camera images started with IMG, right? So if you just wanted to access just the image files, you can first of all, create a list of all the files in that folder.
Yeah. And
then just for each, and just loop through, right? And for each file, check if IMG is in there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I get that. Can I make a suggestion? For like the in operator, if I was to come back and read that, I think I'd struggle to actually know what it's saying.
Yeah.
With the note, can you write the in operator? This means checking if something is in something, or like a string is in a thing.
Let's just call it one thing is in another thing.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's really, really helpful.
Good. We're going to go back a little bit to what I said about objects. So strings are an example of Python objects. Now, very simply, an object contains both data. So in this case, that's just the, for station, it's just ALDGAT, right? But also methods. So methods are functions built into the object. How do we check what methods are available? Python has this command, which is dir. So if we do that, we get a whole bunch of a load of stuff. Everything that doesn't have what's called these dunder, the double underscore, is a method. So let's just take an example. Say, so what are all these? So for that, there's another command which is help. So if you go help station dot, in fact, the one I want to use is upper, right? And it just tells you, this returns to you a copy of the string converted to uppercase. I mean, to be honest, you could have just tried it. Oh, actually, if you try it, doesn't quite work, right? So actually, the reason it doesn't work is because you need that. Because it's a method, it has to have these brackets around it. So now we get that.
Yeah.
So here, an example of when you might do something like this, right, is say you wanted, you have a whole bunch of names or whatever, and you just want to create some kind of code, like just codes for each of them. So you could say you could have something like this, right, where you just have the first 3 letters capitalized.
What's inside the round brackets? Could you put something in that?
In here.
Yeah.
It looks like this doesn't have anything. It doesn't actually take anything. According to help, It doesn't take anything. For more complicated, for example,
I guess I would have guessed it with the 0:3 would have been in the round brackets.
No, because and the reason is this, right? Because so I've actually done 2 different things here. So let's do this first, right? And then that. Sorry, did I do that a bit too quickly? Do you understand my point? So we've got that first.
Yeah.
But I was just saying, let's say if we were trying to make some sort of code out of it, from this, we would now just choose some. Because these are these are quite separate commands we've just done.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think so.